This is a review of the Memoffice 120 piece alcohol marker set. See, they come in a soft case as most of the marker sets do. There's nothing in here that keeps them from kind of wiggling around in there. I've already pre-selected out and gum banded up some of the colors that we're going to be using in our test today. And one of the problems with marker bags is as you take the markers out, they all start going every which way. If this seriously bothers you, I'd recommend that you get some other storage system. I myself don't have any problem with it. Now what I've done is I've taken some very heavy cardstock, which is pretty much a good substitute for marker paper. Marker paper itself tends to be a cardstock type of paper. And I've put a image on here of a sketch I did of a hummingbird, and we're going to go through and see how these markers perform. They do have a rich color laydown. Blending seems to be half decent, but it does get a little bit of the spottiness there. One thing that is often not understood about folks starting in new with alcohol markers is, unlike with watercolor markers where you end up really ruining things if you keep going in more and more with the watercolor markers, the more layers that you put in with an alcohol marker, you're just doing additional blending. And you can often change the entire look of a piece just by keeping going back in and refining the colors that you have there, blending them again and again. One thing you do want to take note of is that the bullet tip, in other words the fine tip, just wanted to show you how much harder it is to do blending if you use that tip. The chisel tip is much better for getting your blending to go as smoothly as possible. as you can see, these markers do, if you just keep working them, they do seem to do a fairly decent job of blending. I would say that overall, this is a good set. Definitely not going to be disappointed in my opinion. And mind you, I'm not a fantastic marker artist, as I'm sure you can see here. So take my opinion as you will, but I like the feel of these markers. I like their ability to blend into each other. And again, you want to make sure that you're using a paper that's going to accept all of that extra marker on there. A paper that will let you blend, because your paper really does matter. These markers are not going to perform as well if you just use like a copier paper or a sketchbook paper that has a lot of tooth and is you know, thin. You definitely want to make sure that you use the type of paper that is going to work with marker techniques, because blending marker, as you can see, requires you to really saturate the paper. You know, you're laying down a lot of color here in order to get the blends going on. But I do believe that these Memoffice would serve you well. I would highly recommend them. They're a very good price point. Now, I've never used a Copic marker myself, so for those of you that are Copic fans and professional artists in using markers, you know, my apologies to you, but I think that these are a pretty good marker. And for those of us that just like to do some illustrations and enjoy simply drawing and painting and coloring for the sake of doing it, and aren't professional artists, these Memoffice are going to serve you well. They do have a bullet tip for the fine lines, and then the chisel tip, which is the one that I was using to test the blending of these markers. Hope this is helpful and helps you make a decision if you would like to purchase this set or not.